In this episode, we have an epic sail from the Cyclades to the Dodecanese Islands, making it across ahead of schedule. We needed to make the crossing to eastern Greece ready to head to Turkey before our Schengen visa ran out. We made the trip in just over a week, including sailing to Rhodes to escape some bad weather. We started our journey at the south of Naxos. The Anchorage was pretty windy, with katabatic winds funneling down the valley, but the bay was beautiful and we had a delicious dinner with a great view at Cyclades Taverna that night. After dropping off our rubbish, we decided to get going. As I was pulling up the anchor, I did my usual hand signals to direct Ryan where to drive the boat, so that the windlass wouldn't be under pressure when pulling up the anchor, and we wouldn't drive over the anchor chain. We found that hand signals stop us from yelling out directions, which are hard to hear in high winds anyway. Our next stop was Pory Beach Bay in Koufonisia. The anchorage was supposed to be protected from the northerly wind, but it blew straight over the headland at 20 knots. It was also jam-packed as there was a regatta on which had booked out the nearby marina. This was one of the only bays with protection from the north, but due to the strong winds we decided to take turns doing anchor watch all night. We were supposed to stay in this anchorage for 2 nights, but decided to bail at 5 AM the next morning and sail to Astipalea 9 hours away. We knew the conditions would be a little rough, but wanted to get going towards a safer anchorage where we could rest. As we approached Astipalea, the sea state kept building and we continued to get wind gusts over 28 knots. It's hard to show you how big the swell is on camera, but we were basically surfing our way into the anchorage. Luckily, Poseidon sent us some dolphins to guide us in. We were so excited and relieved to make it to the sheltered waters of Bathy Bay, our safe haven for the next couple of days. We were the only boat in the bay for the first night, probably because no one else decided to sail in the rough conditions. We headed to the quirky taverna for dinner. The next day we took the dinghy to explore some ruins around the bay. We found an old church and I climbed up to take a look. There was a small herd of sheep inside who I accidentally startled. One took a tumble down the hill but thankfully had enough wool to break its fall and wasn't hurt. After a couple of days' rest, we decided it was time to head to Kos, where we planned to check out of Greece. The forecast was for calm conditions, which we needed to get out of Bathy Bay and around the tip of the island. In this weather, the coastline seemed like a different place to where we'd come in the other day. We were paid another visit from the beautiful dolphins we'd seen on the way in. As we approached Kos, we caught our first glimpse of Turkey in the distance. We arrived at the Anchorage, successfully completing our crossing to the Dodecanese Islands. After settling in, we went for a swim to check out the anchor. The water was some of the clearest we'd ever swam in. We went for a walk up to Koufonisia to check out the view. Ryan got a haircut while we were there. The end result turned out okay despite the barber multitasking. There was some very strong wind forecast for the area we were in for a few days' time, and there weren't many sheltered anchorages. To escape it, we needed to get further southeast, so decided to change our plans and make our way towards Rhodes, with our first stop being at Tilos. Tilos was beautiful and the water was crystal clear. There were only a couple of other boats in the bay. We went ashore and found an interesting semi-permanent camping setup, complete with a DIY phone charging station. We'd found out that there was a museum on Tilos dedicated to the history of elephants on the island, so we decided to head there. As we walked through the landscape, we could picture elephants living there. We were amazed to learn that elephants had come to Tilos 45,000 years ago, swimming across from Asia when the sea level was 140 metres lower. When they came to Tilos, they were normal size but became dwarfed over time due to food restrictions. The Tilos elephant evolved to be about 1.5 metres high and weighed 500 kilos. They were the last surviving elephants in Europe, becoming extinct 3,500 years ago, probably in part due to climate change and humans inhabiting the island. We also caught the bus to the local village. The anchorage at Tilos was rolly, so we continued to Alimia, our last stop before Rhodes. The anchorage we had in mind there was really windy when we arrived, so we ended up finding another spot nearby and tying a stern line to the rocks for the first time, right in front of an abandoned German World War II outpost. Next time we visit Rhodes, our final stop in Greece before heading to Turkey.